We are now just 113 days away from the official release of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker by writer and director J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio, as well as creator George Lucas. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, what's really exciting about Episode 9 is that we do know that this film, at the end of the day, is going to contain many different revelations, surprises, twists, and turns that's truly going to change how we view the past 8 Star Wars movies. And on top of all of this, we do know that Episode 9 is going to be a film that will answer many of the burning questions from Episode 7, The Force Awakens. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this movie, and when it all comes down to one of the concept art descriptions, this is where things begin to get very exciting for Episode 9. Now, specifically, when it all comes down to one of the plans by George Lucas, JJ, and more as well, this is where things begin to get very intense. It's described that during the rewrites of the film for the months of November and December of 2018 is when J.J. Abrams and George Lucas were both working very hard to develop a complex and satisfying ending to the Skywalker saga, where it's said that during this time in which major adjustments were done to the script, one of the big plans by J.J. and George was to create an ending that would create a revelation bigger than the I am your father moment in Empire Strikes Back. It's explained that the final scene of The Rise of Skywalker will be bigger and more surprising than the I am your father scene, and that it was George Lucas who was the one who set out to make this goal complete, to make this sequence more surprising than the iconic father and son moment. It's described that the big reveal has to do with the characters of Rey, Kylo, and Palpatine, and that Luke will also play a role in this big scene at the end of the film that is said to be very unexpected and unpredictable by the fans. Additionally, it's explained that George worked very close with Mark Hamill, Adam Driver, Daisy Ridley, and Ian McDiarmid for this particular scene in order to fulfill the moment for how he imagined it to be on set with director J.J. Abrams. The entire sequence was said to have been shot on the biggest set ever done in a Star Wars film over in Cardington. So let's go over a couple of parts about this. Now, what's really exciting about this is that we can really see how ambitious J.J. Abrams really is, as well as creator George Lucas, and what they're trying to do with Episode 9 to really deliver the best experience possible for Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. Now, on top of all of this, we do know that Episode 9 is, of course, going to answer many burning questions from The Force Awakens. But it's, of course, the very ending of the film that will contain the biggest revelation of all, that is said to top the I'm your father moment. Now, if you guys want my 2 cents, I feel like it's nearly impossible to top the I am your father moment, not just because of what it is, but also because of how surprising it was to the audience, because, well, back then, nobody was really expecting any kind of revelation, whereas in this scenario, it's kind of like we're all prepared for something so different and so strange in a way that's going to really take us by surprise. It's almost like we're expecting the unexpected to happen, and that's exactly what JJ, George, Disney, and Lucasfilm want to do for the biggest revelation of all at the very end of Episode 9. So, the thing about this is that we do know that this is actually said to include Mark Hamill, Ian McDiarmid, Adam Driver, and Daisy Ridley as Luke, Palpatine, Rey, and Kylo. Now, this most likely alludes to some of the leaks that we have been going over, of how there is going to be a sequence at the very end of the film involving, of course, the concept of resurrection and the concept of possession, as well as other concepts that fans have never seen before in The Rise of Skywalker, and specifically in the entire Skywalker saga, I should say. So, I'm not quite sure even if at that it would really top the I'm your father moment. It really has to be executed in a very specific and unique way for the fans, with a proper score by, of course, John Williams himself, in order to really make this a very interesting experience for the fans, and something that's going to lead the fans discussing about this movie for years on end. And the one thing I really do want to point out here is that this is actually said to involve the biggest set used for a Star Wars film in the Skywalker saga's history. Now, this was all said to be filmed over in Cardington earlier this year, and it's actually said to be one of the biggest scenes of all. Now, the fact that they used the biggest set for a Star Wars movie really does speak volumes. It tells us that this moment in The Rise of Skywalker really is going to deliver, and it's really going to leave fans wondering about what's going on here. Now, my only fear about Episode 9 is that J.J. Abrams is going to end the film on a huge and massive cliffhanger, making us wonder about exactly, what happened at the very end. I'm hoping that we get great closure at the very end of this story, and they can wrap it up to the point where we're not left guessing about anything, or we're not left asking about anything, or questioning ourselves about some of the characters. I really am crossing my fingers that J.J. Abrams is going to close this story with all the questions answered, leaving no loose ends at all whatsoever, and I think that's exactly what he's going to do, and that's what he's actually setting out to do in order to really make this movie the true end of the Skywalker saga, with no ifs, ands, or buts by Disney and Lucasfilm before they move on to the new trilogy. So, anyways guys, drop a comment below, let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.